I'm Anne Harkness, and I am an oil painter. I really love painting chairs, town scenes, and telephone poles. And I know that's a little bit bizarre, but they all have strong graphic images, and that's what it motivates me. So you'll see quite a mix in this show of subjects, but that will pretty much encompass all of it. These here are some of my chairs, and I especially love larger size canvases, and it also means, I get to get my steps in. I live on a lake, so boating is my husband's passion, and therefore it becomes a subject that I enjoy. And I really like lines. In most of my paintings, you'll see some lines that I've left in, and intentionally I did streaks through this painting which changed the color of the background. But when you look at this painting in black and white, the different colors disappear, and it's all one. This is the same value as the color beside it. So the lines, these big stripes, will disappear. But here these boats are rafted together. They're tied together and they're having a little party. And but I love that there are 3 different kinds of boats, and I love the lines of the lines and the masts and the streaks that cut through the image. I put these streaks down first before I've even started blocking in where the painting goes. So it's a surprise to me where they hit. And if something needs to be adjusted, then I'll have to adjust it. But the streaks are part of the surprise. And I like the surprises that come up when you're painting. When I'm painting, I like the challenges. I like drafting. The lines are there partly because they're lines on boats, but other lines are there because I needed them to get the proportion of the boats in properly. So I care about the actual structure of the subject matter, that it would be true to reality, but I paint it in. I don't draw it. I don't throw it up with a screen with a projector. I just start painting and adjust it as I go. And I often turn the paintings upside down so that I can see if it's working as a design. And it often will show me what's out of balance, what's not quite right. What do I need to do? How shall I tweak it to work out this issue? Oftentimes in a painting, there will be something that needs to be tweaked, whether it's balance, or I like to move the color all the way around the canvas so that your eye can travel around the canvas on the one color and then travel around the canvas on a different color. And I like for you to be engaged and to see new things and to make discoveries. And I like there to be a little mystery so that it's not just the same as the photograph. I enjoy the application of the paint and the marks of the paint. And I enjoy other mark making. My husband does remodeling and renovations, and I asked him one day next time he's going to the hardware store, to pick up some tools that could maybe work for me in my studio. And he went to his shop and came back with a 5-gallon bucket full of tools and said, take whatever you want. So I have a lot of tools that are not painter's tools, and they give me sometimes lines they'll help me make lines. I don't want tools that are fuzzy or I want them to have an actual line to them. I enjoy that so much. So anyway, that's just something about this painting. This painting is brick and mortar, and it's all about these 3 different brick buildings that are on a site. I photographed them, and they have, you know, steps and walls and railings and trees, so there are tons of lines. And the lines, you can see my proportion and my perspective lines are there. And I know the old masters would put these lines in their paintings before they painted them, and then they would paint and cover all the lines. But if I don't have that line stimulation, I have to put them back in. So most chances are I want to keep them there all the way through the painting because I just really enjoy that. I love the interaction of the lines because we're surrounded by lines, you know, in trees and in telephone poles and in telephone wires and the sides of buildings and roofs and all sorts of places that we don't really see. Our mind glazes over and we don't see those lines. But the more I got to know a photograph or a setting, the more I realized there were lines. And then I realized I just love these lines. I love all the interactions and the connections and the trip that you take on a line. So that's another little bit of my process. One of the subjects that I mentioned that I really like are chairs, and it's partly because for me they are strong graphic images, but in a way they are portraits. Each one is different. Each one requires its own space and requires some breathing space. And I must draw them properly or else it'll be sort of a Van Gogh chair in his bedroom, which I love and I think it is charming, his chairs, but that's not what I want to do. I can appreciate other people's styles and other people's approach that's different from mine, but that's not what I want to do. So, for instance, in this one, you'll see that there are lines that help me determine how to draw the chair. And this one in particular, I always want a shadow. I love shadows. I love light. I love the strength of those dynamics. And in this one, I ended up labeling parts of the chair because it seems like a drafting stool to me. And so I felt I needed to draw it as if it was a drafting chair. So there you go.